unpacking today's headlines. This is Souls and Liberty in Depth.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In Depth, the production of Souls and Liberty, brought to you in partnership with MyPillow.com. This just in.
It continues
this is a very strong
rattle
earthquake.
pretty strong here.
8:21 here on the air. We're experiencing very strong shaking.
Wow.
I think we need to get under the desk.
All right, we're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Wow.
All right, that was Los Angeles in 2019. But today in D.C., the experience is much the same. The MAGA revolution is rocking Washington and shows no signs of letting up. More on the Trump tremor in a moment, but first,
there's attempts to influence these decisions coming from all sides, because this is the first chance that a lot of people on the right have had to really impact these choices. So everyone's taking their shot. Everyone's trying to make it really like, hey, okay, this is our chance.
The political earthquake unleashed by Trump's re-election is off the charts and intensifying. Here to discuss all this with us today is Souls and Liberty contributor Arthur Clareau. I'm your host, Stephen Wynn, coming to you from Kansas City. Arthur, the news coming out of Washington is dizzying. My head is spinning, and I'm a Trump supporter. I can't imagine what the left is experiencing at the moment here. There's so much to talk about. Let's start off with this. Yesterday, Trump announced a new Department of Government Efficiency to be headed by tech titan Elon Musk, whose social media platform X, of course, has been pivotal in helping to preserve free speech online. Musk will head this agency alongside entrepreneur and former GOP presidential contender Vivek Ramaswamy. So basically, we have the creation of a new bureaucracy tasked with gutting bureaucracy and slashing government spending. And this is going to be led by two kings of the private sector. So explain this to us, what it's all about, Arthur.
Hey, Stephen. Yeah, it's a great question and a great new development in American history. The Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, its name alone is sort of an oxymoron, which kind of shows exactly why it's needed. And of all the people to run it, Elon Musk has a track record of successful business launches, successful business operations, and keeping his businesses. I guess efficient is really just a great way to say it. I mean, he took over Twitter, and I mean, look at the name. He brought that down to X. And I'll talk about efficient. No, but in reality, he got rid of 80% of the staff, and none of the users really noticed any functional difference as far as the platform's concerned. So if you're looking at the United States right now, one of the biggest issues is that the bloat of the federal government, the bloat of government in general, does a few things. One, it stymies the private sector in many ways. It stymies the ability for economic growth through bureaucratic loopholes and red tape. That's a big deal. And it's the one that a lot of economists have been pointing to for a long time now. And so it's good that it's finally getting some attention. But then on the other hand, all of that comes at a cost. Every government job comes at a cost. And whether that's taxes or it's inflationary money printing to pay for this and deficit spending, either way, it's coming at a cost to the taxpayer with inflation or with just straight up new taxes. So being able to get rid of at least the superfluous, the useless, the poorly performing aspects, take the Department of Education, for example, moving that to the states, letting people have more say, all of that sort of stuff is not just needed, it's critical if you want a high functioning America that is focused once again on excellence and is pushing for greatness, as opposed to just trying to survive, building up of barnacles on the ship.
Yes, very good, very good. Yeah, I think it's fascinating. It's going to be really interesting seeing a new bureaucracy killing bureaucracy. If anyone can make it work, I think it's Musk and Ramaswamy. We'll see how it goes there. When we come back, Trump continues to fill key positions for his second term, sparking establishment dread and some bewilderment in D.C. We'll talk about it further shortly.
The establishment has tried to assassinate President Trump twice. But we can't really be shocked that those who slaughter 1 million unborn babies each year would try to kill one more human being who stands in the way of their diabolical agenda. Trump, like every one of us, including all of us at Souls and Liberty, is a sinner. But like all of us, he is in the fight and fighting for all of us to get one more chance, maybe a last chance, to save the republic. We must hang together, or as Benjamin Franklin said, we shall hang separately. And maybe far sooner than many imagine, because communists take over and always persecute Christians and Catholics in particular. Let us help you fight these forces of evil. Become a monthly supporter today so we can continue giving you the information, the tools of our faith, and the support network you need to go out and save souls and save our nation. Join our merry band of happy warriors and click below to get into the fight. We need you, we need each other. Join the resistance. Become a monthly donor today.
Trump continues to fill key positions at breakneck speed. Yesterday, he picked former Texas GOP Congressman John Ratcliffe to serve as director of the CIA. Now, conservatives are hailing this appointment, as Ratcliffe is a staunch conservative himself, and I might add, a Catholic. The establishment, not surprisingly, is less enthused, as Ratcliffe is also former director of national intelligence. In essence, he knows where the bodies are buried, and as a Trump loyalist, can be expected to begin digging them up. Arthur, tell us more about Ratcliffe, about why conservatives really believe that Ratcliffe is the right man for the job.
It's with all of these appointments, what's very interesting is that many of us are kind of playing guessing games. You take someone like John Ratcliffe, they have somewhat of a track record, so you can look back at that. But the like we said yesterday, the way that they mesh with Trump and with the Trump government and what is in their hearts, what they're like in person, is difficult for us to assess, of course. So in a lot of ways, we're trusting Trump's judgment on this. Everyone voted for him. They're trusting him to put the people in place that he needs to carry out that mandate. John Radcliffe's very interesting. Like you said, Catholic. That's wonderful, especially if he's a devout practicing Catholic, unlike some who have been in government recently. But on top of that, look, this is someone who's experienced. He knows the job. He was director of national intelligence previously. He has the connections. And there's a tricky game that must be played with whoever Trump puts in this position, because they have to, the people of the intelligence agencies have to feel like he has their best interest in mind, and he is going to properly, represent what they're doing to Trump, and then also properly represent what Trump is trying to accomplish to them, while also sort of maintaining a sort of culture and status quo that in any workforce people kind of expect. And on the flip side, he also needs to be someone who can root out the corruption within those agencies, root out the anti-Americanism, root out the dual loyalties, root out all this sort of stuff that is very important. So we'll see how it goes, but it's not an easy job, and, keep him in our prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. We had another key announcement yesterday. This one, I think, was a bit of a shocker for pretty much everyone. Trump picked Fox News host and military veteran Pete Hegseth to serve as Secretary of Defense. Now, Hegseth is an American hero. He has served in Afghanistan, Iraq, and in Guantanamo Bay, 3 deployments. He's also the recipient of not 1, but 2 Bronze Stars. Trump had words of praise when announcing Hegseth. Allow me to refer to my notes here. Trump said Hegseth would be, quote, a courageous and patriotic champion of our peace through strength policy. The president-elect added, Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are on notice. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. Even so, beyond these words of praise, Hegseth's nomination stunned people inside the Beltway, including a great many inside the Pentagon. I'm curious to get your reaction on this, Arthur. What do you think?
When I first saw that announcement and looked up Pete Hegseth, I'd seen him here and there in social media, but I wasn't very very familiar with him. One thing that struck me was he looks very young. He looks young.
44.
There we go. He's also not the typical politician or very politicized military man that takes that role. Think Colin Powell, right? politician and general, there's this sort of this persona or this type of person that you'd expect to be in that role. And yet at the same time, extremely refreshing. You see, we have an America right now that has been so focused on, frankly, destructive policies, especially in the military. I mean, you had DEI run amok for decades in the military. They pushed wokeness, they pushed the COVID. Like, there's just so many things that have been pushed on there that have made it a less effective fighting force. Hegseth was bringing up at one point that whenever war games were tested, and the Pentagon is very good at testing war games, apparently, America lost to China every single time. Now, my friends in Texas will disagree with this. I'm sure many many people in the Department of Defense will disagree with this. But the reality is, if that's happening, that's a problem, because America should be far superior to China's military at this point in time. So it's a problem internally. It's not a problem with being able to buy enough equipment. It's not a problem with budget. It's not a problem with any of that sort of stuff. It's a problem internally with systems, with the way things are done. And that change, just if he could come in and just shift the focus to excellence, to an effective fighting force, I believe that, I mean, the people in the military are going to be grateful for that. No one wants to be going out into the field with just confusion around them. And I think the American people are going to be very happy. And like you said earlier, it's peace through strength. At this point in time, whether we like it or not, the United States is the hegemon. It is the empire. It is the policeman of the world. You can withdraw somewhat from that position, but every step back you take, you create a vacuum, and that creates uncertainty and instability in the world. So this doesn't mean that we have to go putting our nose in everything. This doesn't mean that the United States needs to go and get involved in new wars. God forbid. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But it does mean that you need to be able to portray enough strength that you can keep things stable around the globe. Right. And that's his job. It's a big job. It's also right. Trump's job. And I think this is a case where those two men are going to work very carefully. And I mean, in picking Hegseth, Trump obviously figured that this is someone he could work well with on this topic.
Yes,
so,
yes, I agree. We've actually got a clip. You referenced the wokeification of the U.S. military and the disastrous consequences that have flowed from that. We've got a clip of Hegseth. He was recently on the Sean Ryan podcast, and what he says here, it's a little over a minute. I'd like to play this for our viewers because frankly it encapsulates everything that you said there, but I'd also like to hear it from the man himself, basically. So let's go ahead and roll that clip.
There's a chance to course correct it, but it would take the new Trump administration going after it really hard.
How would they correct it?
Well, first of all, you got to fire you got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and you got to fire this. I mean, obviously, you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense, but any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever, that was involved in any of the DEI woke shit, has got to go. Either you're in for war fighting, and that's it, and that's the only litmus test we care about. You got to get DEI and CRT out of military academies, so you're not training young officers to be baptized in this type of thinking. And then, whatever the standards, whatever the combat standards were, say, in, I don't know, 1995, let's just make those the standards. And as far as recruiting, to hire the guy that, did Top Gun Maverick and create some real ads that motivate people to want to serve. And there's lots of other ways in which you could identify who gets promoted and what, but there's an ethos change. I mean, there's a reason people don't want to serve, because they don't trust that their senior leaders are going to have their best interest in mind in combat. I know there were mistakes made on our tours all over the place, but I, at least for the most part, had a sense that my senior leaders were committed to the completion of the mission for the right reasons. And maybe there were strategic differences and all that other stuff, and it wasn't always perfect, but that trust is broken, and you have to reestablish that trust by putting in no-nonsense warfighters in those positions who aren't going to cater to the socially correct garbage.
I applaud that. I think top brass inside the Pentagon have gone absolutely nuts in recent years, and fully embracing the ideology of the left. And this, Arthur, as you outlined, has just been disastrous for the United States. I think a purge is needed, and perhaps Hegseth is the man to get it done. He'll encounter a very different type of combat in Washington than he's used to on the battlefield there, but hopefully he will be the right man for the job. We We will see. When we come back, a few key unknowns remain inside Washington. We'll explore these further in a moment.
Because of your overwhelming support, our 1488 MyPillow has been one of the biggest sales in MyPillow history. I couldn't think of a better way to say thank you than to extend our wholesale pricing through Christmas. Get a classic standard MyPillow for only $14.88. Upgrade to a queen size, just $18.88. King size, only $1 more. Get my body pillows for only $29.88. And ready? Multi-use MyPillows, only $9.88. It's perfect time to stock up for Christmas gifts for everyone on your list. Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our wholesale pricing. Including my classic standard MyPillows, only $14.88. But that's not all. I'm so confident you're going to love our classic MyPillows that I'm going to extend my 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st, 2025. Plus, orders over $75 ship absolutely free.
As Trump continues to pick key leaders for his second term, as of this recording, a few key unknowns remain. First of all, the identity of the Senate Majority Leader. Who is it going to be? Senators are set to vote on their new leader later this afternoon. This, of course, is not a position that is up to Trump to decide. It's up to the Republican senators themselves to decide who their next leader will be. And again, this vote is scheduled for later today. It's interesting, reportedly behind the scenes, there's been a clash going on over who will lead the new Republican majority. Will it be Senator Rick Scott of Florida, who's a true MAGA member, or will it be Senator John Cornyn of Texas, or even Senator John Thune of South Dakota, who famously, or perhaps infamously rather, he distanced himself from President Trump quite publicly in the past. So, Arthur, I think it seems apparent that whoever is voted in as the leader of the new Republican majority, I think the vote itself is going to be very telling. It's going to reveal to us who inside the Senate is a true follower, a true supporter of Trump, and who remains with the old Rhino Guard. Your thoughts?
I think that's spot on. I think that's accurate. It's going to be, I mean, from what I understand, it's a fight going on right now over exactly that. And like we've said before, he really has 2 years to roll out everything that he's been planning to do for the last really probably 8 years. So he's going to need key people in place that are willing to carry out the mandate that was given, as opposed to becoming roadblocks. And obviously, Senate Majority Leader is going to be a big deal.
All right. Another intriguing question yet to be answered is the question of Secretary of State. Now, obviously, the scuttlebutt, we discussed this yesterday, the scuttlebutt coming out of Washington and New York is that it's going to be Senator Marco Rubio of Florida. But I don't know. I find it intriguing that we have yet to hear an official announcement from Team Trump regarding this. Is there, what are we to make of that? Is there anything to that apparent delay? Is it an apparent delay, or am I just being impatient? What do you think, Arthur?
I think right now what we need to realize too is that there's a lot of games going on. There's attempts to influence these decisions coming from all sides, because this is the first chance that a lot of people on the right have had to really impact these choices. So everyone's taking their shot. Everyone's trying to make it really like, hey, okay, this is our chance. Rubio, it seems to be one of those. Now, that doesn't mean he's not in the running. It doesn't mean he's not leading the running. I don't know. But I think one thing that Trump has done very well, and this happened in the first administration, it happened now, it's happened many times, is he takes his time to make his decision. And when he makes his decision, it usually surprises most people. We all have these opinions of who's going to go where and what's going to happen. I mean, I remember Vivek Ramaswamy was going to be Secretary of State. Tucker Carlson was going to be White House press. Okay, why can't I think of the name right now? Anyways, there was going to be so many different, everyone's favorite person was going to be in their favorite position. And we were all playing armchair quarterback of the next Trump administration. In the end, they're making the decisions very methodically. They have a great team in there that is being very careful. And that team includes people like Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy, people like that. So it's not it's not just Trump sitting there making choices. This is a very well thought out decision, and let's sit back and enjoy the show and see what happens. There's a lot of noise. I hope he's ignoring the noise and just focusing. I think he is just focusing on what needs to be done.
All right, very good. Good assessment there. Patience is indeed a virtue. It's one that I often lack. So I'm just going to have to chill out and wait patiently along with the rest of the country. All right, Arthur, thank you very much for joining us. As always, excellent analysis and discussion there. And to our viewers, as always, thank you for joining us for In Depth. God bless you.